Good evening. We're going to do a short class on this week's Torah portion. It's called Devarim. It's the fifth book of the five books of Moses. Moses recited this book in 37 days, starting from Rosh Chodesh Shevat until his passing on the 7th of Adar. It is also known as Mishneh Torah, the repetition of the Torah, as Moses repeated many of the commandments which were stated in the first four books of the Torah. So the parsha begins, Ele hadvarim, these are the words which Moses spoke to all of Israel. So it says many places, all of a sudden. It says on that side of the Jordan in the desert, in the plain opposite the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel and Lavan and Chatzerot in Dizahav. All these places. So obviously, they're not in all these places, and rather this is coming to teach us something. These were words of rebuke, since this was Moses' last testament and will, so to speak, to the people. And he names these places where the nation had kind of upset Hashem in the past, and he's only alluding to them. He's not saying it to them clearly out of respect for them. So he's kind of doing it in a way so they'll know what he's talking about, but he's not doing it so obvious to embarrass them. Why does it say to all Israel? Because if he had only rebuked some of them, those that were not there would have said, you heard from Moses, the son of Amram, and you didn't say anything regarding this and that. If we were there, we would have answered him. So that he assembled everyone there, saying to them, you see, you're all here. If anyone has something to say to me, let them say it. So what is in the desert? Why is the word in the desert? When they angered Hashem, when they said if we had died. In the plain, this is for the sin of Baal Peor, next to the story of Pinchas. Opposite the Red Sea, this is when they rebelled in the beginning, when they said, there's no graves in Egypt, you took us to die in the desert, and they were kind of rebellious. This is between Paran and Tophel and Lavan. Rabbi Yochanan says, we have never found a place called Tophel or Lavan in the Torah. So what is Tophel? In Hebrew, the foolish things. Tophel is like foolish things. They said about the man. The man was white, so that's why Lavan. They said, we don't like this bread. And also Paran is connected to the spies. Hatzerot is connected to the story of Korach. And Di Zahav literally means a lot of gold or enough gold. And he was rebuking them for the calf that they made because of the abundance of gold that they had. And he said it is 11 days journey from Horeb, which is Mount Sinai, through the way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. He said we could have, and Hashem, it's 11-day journey, and Hashem actually made it even faster because he wanted them to get to Israel, and then they sinned, unfortunately. So now it continues at the time they were in now. It was the 40th year of their time in the desert, in the 11th month, counting from Nisan, so that's how we get to Shvat. On the first of the month, it was Rosh Chodesh. Moses spoke to the children of Israel according to all that Hashem had commanded him regarding them. Chodesh Tov Chaimi, nice to see you. Continuing. So, why did he do it? Why did he say this rebuke almost right before his passing? He learned this from Jacob, who Jacob waited very short time before his passing to rebuke his sons. And why is that? So that the person shouldn't rebuke and then rebuke again. So it should just be, because then the person will be embarrassed when they see them and ashamed. So then the Torah is better to wait till before the passing. And it says after he had beaten Sichon, the king of the Amori, and Og, the king of the Bashan. Why did he wait till after he had beaten these kings? Because the Jews would have said, what have you done for us, and you're giving us a hard time? So he showed he did things for them, he cared for them, and then he waited to. And so it says, Be'ever Yarden, on the other side of the Jordan, Be'eretz Moab, in the land of Moab, Ho'il Moshe Be'eret HaTorah Zot Lemor. Moses started to explain this law, saying, and what is he explaining? He explained it in 70 languages. That and in other ways that he gave 70 interpretations to every passage. So why did Moses actually translate the Torah? So the nations would have it too. So they wouldn't have an excuse, so to speak. That the Torah was also translated into their languages. And Moses says to them, Adonai Eloheinu diber eleinu bechorev lemor. Hashem spoke to us in Horeb, another word for Sinai, saying, Rav lachem shevet barazeh, you have been dwelling in this mountain long enough. Turn and journey, come to the mountains of the Amorites and to all its neighboring places. And it says all these different places. It continues. And says, see, I've set the land before you. Come and possess the land which Hashem had sworn to your forefathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give to them and their descendants after them. And you see the land. You see I'm giving God is saying to them. And if they wouldn't have sent the spies, we would have been a miraculous conquering. And so why does he mention Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob when he already says your fathers? He says your fathers. So why does he mention them specifically? He says that each one of them is worthy on their own to get to inherit the land for you, so to speak. And Moses says, I said it to you at that time, I cannot carry you alone. And how is he saying this? That he's such a powerful person, took them out of Egypt, split the sea for them, brought down the manna. He couldn't judge them. He says, Hashem has multiplied you. What does it mean? He made you higher and superior than your judges. He takes the punishment away from you and imposed it upon the judges. And as King Solomon said, for who is able to judge your great people? And Solomon was wiser than all men. How could he say who is able to judge? But he's saying the judges of this nation are not like the judges of other people. Because if they make mistakes, it doesn't matter. But when we make a mistake, we get in trouble, as it says in Proverbs chapter 22, and he robs the life of those who rob them. So he continues, Moses says, Hanai Elohechem irba etchem Hashem, your God has multiplied you. V'inechem hayom kechovvei hashamayim, and today you are as the stars of the abundance, the stars of the heaven to abundance. Adonai Elohei avotechem Yosef alechem kachem elef pa'amim, yivarech etchem kasher diber lechem. Hashem, the God of your fathers, multiply you and add to you 1,000 times as you are, 1,000-fold, and may he bless you as he spoke concerning to you, to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That was the first aliyah of Parashat Devarim. Have a good night. Thank you, Jaime. God bless you guys. All the best.